I know many of you out there. My name is Bob Vosen. I'm the district administrator for the Department of Transportation for District 1, which is basically west of the Continental Divide, bound on Idaho to the west, Idaho to the south, and Canada to the north. So cover a pretty good chunk of the area. Some of you, I'm looking for familiar faces. I used to live at 340 Lakeshore Drive for a couple years down in Mission View. Decided I was going broke paying for my kid driving back and forth to town 3 times a day. So we did move a little closer to town, but still, we still spend a lot of time in a Lakeside community. With me, I've got Rebecca Anderson. Rebecca is our traffic engineer, and she covers the northern half of the area I described. So I was asked to come over tonight, share some thoughts. I know there's lots of questions. 2 main topics that were brought to me, or that I was asked to address, is the concerns with traffic and pedestrians in the Lakeside area, and then also there's concerns about the one development in particular that's looking at moving into the area, but generally I think I'm going to speak to just development in general. Western Montana is, I think everybody knows we're growing. There's challenges with that all over the place. It's not a Lakeside thing. It's not a Kalispell thing. It's not a Flathead Valley thing. It's a Western and Southwestern Montana thing. So to speak about development, those 2 topics, I'll talk to them in reverse order. So development in general. MDT has taken the position that development pays for development. And what I mean by that is if development's creating impacts to the road, if we can figure out how to come up with what the impacts of that development are, the developer, we make them pay for those developments. An example is the Kalispell North Town Center on the north end of Kalispell. The new Ford dealer where Costco's going, there's big apartments going in there. The developer up there he's responsible to build the new roads. He's put in the new stoplight that's at Rose Crossing. He's currently working with us on getting permits to put another stoplight. It's calling it Knob Hill Road. It's between the existing stoplight and where the Toyota or the Chevy dealer is up there. He's also going to be working on making improvements to Whitefish Stage. Those are all being done by that developer because he created, Rose Crossing didn't go across all the way until he built it. So the developer is paying for the development. But with that, we have to also understand that we're concerned with the numbers that the developer is generating. In that area, it's pretty easy because there was nothing there, and now there's something. So it's pretty easy to say, developer, you're creating this, you have to pay for it. Where it becomes more challenging is when we have an existing road, Highway 93, and there's already a county road or there's already roads bringing in, so the developer's bringing in additional traffic. A couple things that are challenging to that is, if a developer, say somebody up at the end of Burney Road, or you pick the county road that comes into Highway 93, if they put 500 new homes up there, there is nothing in law saying they have to come talk to me. There is nothing they have to do. They are getting a permit from the county. They have to talk to the county about the county road and the access to the county road. But there is a public road that already connects to the Department of Transportation's state highway. So they do not have to come to the department and say, what do we have to do? Now, Rebecca's working her tail off. She's working with the counties in Western Montana. We're trying to work closely with the planning boards and say, hey, when these new developments are coming in, we need them to look downstream at that impact where they get onto the state, onto the system. But one thing that we have to be cautious of, the law allows us to require them to mitigate their impacts. But we can't do, we have to do it without creating an undue burden on them. So if somebody builds a new development up here and they come down Bill's Road and they hit Highway 93, we can make them have to mitigate the impact at Highway 93. What we can't make them do is turn Highway 93 into a 4-lane all the way to Summers. That's an undue burden. There's a lot of people that say that's what we should do, but you know, there's language on what we can and can't do. So other things that MDT can't do, we won't do, is get involved in what that development is, what that development looks like, nope, that's not us. What we care about is how many trips are going to be generated, what's the impact at the point of contact with our road, and how do we mitigate it. We don't get into approving and disapproving. We don't say you can't. State law is really clear. We have to provide safe ingress and egress to property owners' property. So that's law. That's our mission statement. Get you from farm to market, get you from home to work. So we can't tell people you can't come onto our road. We can tell people you're creating an impact, you need to build the turn lane. You need to build 2 turn lanes. You have to put in a signal. When Costco or Walmart come to town, they just say, what's the signalized intersection need to look like? They know that that's what the expectation is. So, but what we do not get involved in land use. We do not get involved in, I don't like the fact that he's building townhouses, I want to be 5. You're not going to get us to be involved with it. That's not our role. So with the development that's coming in, the new developments in the area, they are looking at change of use access. So if there's an existing farm field approach and you want, say you own 5 acres on Highway 82 and you've got a chunk of land there, it's 20 acres and there's a farm field there. If you want to put a house in, that's a change of use. It just went from agricultural to residential. So by law, you have to come to us and get a permit for that change of use. If you have a single family home and you want to turn it into you want to take 40 acres and you want to turn it into 5-acre parcels, change of use. You got to come talk to us so we have an opportunity. But if you have it on the county, on a county road that dumps into us, so if you have land that fronts onto farm to market, not my road, I don't have control. We're hoping that we can continue to work with the county and look at as growth occurs, what do we need to do at certain intersections, but we want to get in front of it so we don't run into situations where pick the road. I mean, for crying out loud, I've got a list someplace in here. Where the hell did I put that? This list of, Rebecca and I spent less than 5 minutes and we came up with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 intersections in the valley that need some kind of intersection mitigation done that doesn't have it today. And those are the ones that are unfunded. We've got another 10 or 12 that are already that are funded projects. And this is just in the Flathead. I mean, this is not, I don't think it even encompasses all of Flathead County, honestly. I asked my traffic engineer, Rebecca's counterpart down in Missoula, to do the same thing. He probably spent 10 minutes because he typed it. He's a go-get-em guy. And he came up with 12 real quickly, but then he left me a message and added 4 more to it that I didn't write down because I was driving. So I've got 30 intersections that are unfunded intersections that meet warrants for some kind of improvement beyond what's there. So that's kind of the reality of where we are. And a lot of this is a result of the fact that these intersections have growth occurring off the county roads that are at those intersections. Let's pick one. Happy Valley Hodgson Road area going up to Highway 93. That might be my most called about intersection in the valley. It's got to be in the top 5. Highway 82 and Highway 35, for those of you that go over to Big Fork. Anybody familiar with that one? Okay. I go to church over there, so I'm well aware of it. For the people that give me a call, I spend a lot of time on the road. I'm to Missoula at least once a week. Family farms over on the High Line, so I'm that way. I get it. I drive all over the place. I got teenage kids driving in the valley. You know, one that isn't on the list that we need to talk about is Rocky Cliff isn't on the list, and I live off of Rocky Cliff. So to give you an idea, I've been in my role for 7 or 8 years now. My wife has informed me that I'm a failure if I don't have an improvement at Rocky Cliff before I retire. So that's how bad the damn list is. So I just bring that up, speaking of my teenage daughter, Okay, I got 10 minutes left. So with the developer, we're engaged with them. They've started the permit process. There's a very specific process they have to go through. We have a system impact process where they have to provide a traffic study to us, what they anticipate they're going to generate. We don't just take it blindly. We actually review it, make sure it's accurate. I haven't dug into this one at all. I did just spent about an hour and a half today dealing with one with Town Pump that's looking to build a new place in Frenchtown that's got them pretty fired up, and I think their numbers are, I think they're lowballing us big time. So we're going to take a look at it. We're going to figure out what really needs to be done. I know there's a lot of concerns with a really thick document that came out that I don't know how many of you've seen it. How many of you have read the document?
I haven't read 1,100 pages.
So there's actually about 95 pages in the document. There's the rest of it's appendices that are the justification for the 90-page report. But the 90-page report, like the Lakeside, the greater Lakeside area is, I don't know, about 10 or 12 pages. So don't be scared when you open it up and say, holy shit, it's 1,100 pages. Are they kidding me? Find the area that you're looking at and then reference back to the appendices, take a look. I haven't read it yet. I've thumbed through some stuff. Rebecca printed a lot of pages out, and then we watched them blow across the parking lot sitting in front of the coffee shop, so that was fun.
We grabbed them all.
We got them all, though. No litter in here. Actually, there were some really helpful people downstairs that grabbed them. We were sitting on that upstairs patio at the coffee shop, and they just took off. So I know there's a lot of concern about that. I know there's a short deadline. I'm working on getting an extension. Your folks across the lake from you over at Woods Bay, we just did a traffic study, or a speed study on Highway 35 over there. They had some concerns because the speed study came out before all the summer residents came back, so we were able to extend that so they have more time to review it. I'm happy to do that with this. I'm not 100% sure I'm allowed to, but I'm going to do everything I can to extend that out to get another 4 to 6 weeks for review time. I asked the question this morning. Rebecca sent an email. We didn't get a response back. So what else? With the development up here, there's a lot of rumors. There's interaction at play of what the improvements look like. The one thing I will say when you review the let's call it 30 pages of the 1,100 that are pertinent to the area, I don't know, maybe there's 50. I haven't looked through the appendices yet. That's usually where there's charts and pictures and stuff. Take a look at it, review it. I will say one thing that I really want to stress is, so that is a guide. It's a guiding document for us. As I said, I got my list of intersections. I've got a tremendous amount of needs. So by law, I have to have a 5-year plan, how I'm going to spend my money for the next 5 years. Generally in District 1, we spend between, on the low end, I'm going to say around 80 million a year. On the high end, we spend around 120 million to 130 million a year in construction projects. I have a plan for the next 5 years. In fact, our next 5-year plan, it's just a rolling, we drop 1 year off and add a year at the end. We're going to start putting the next one together over the next couple months. But I call him my money guy. He's on my pre-construction engineering side. He does an amazing job for us. And he's got a spreadsheet that if we can, this is to fix the roads we have today, the projects I have programmed, I need everybody to park your cars and quit driving. I also need everybody to tarp the roads and heat it so we quit getting freeze-thaw and moisture on them. And if we can do that in the next 33 to 37 years, we should be able to get all the projects done that we have identified that we need to do based on current funding. So, and the really bad news, again, this is a guiding document. I've got 3 other documents that have been completed that are documents where we've made a commitment, thou shall, not thou may. These are I shall or I must. One of them is the Summers to Whitefish corridor study. We've got 1 or 2 projects left on that to finish that corridor study that was completed 20 some years ago. We've got a couple projects left south of Missoula to complete that corridor study. And then the big beast is, I think everybody here probably drives to Missoula occasionally. So we've got the Evero to Polson corridor to complete, which includes Post Creek Hill, it includes Nine Pipes, it includes Eagle Pass Trail, it includes the Wildlife Crossing Project, it includes North Nine Pipes, Ronan South, and Ronan Urban. Those projects are probably $400 to $500 million to get, and that three of those projects totaling about 80 million are budgeted. The rest of them are outside the budget, and they're not part of that plan I told you, the 27-year plan. So just to give you an idea, the challenge is money. So when people ask, what can I do? Find one of these trees that's a money tree. There's a strong commitment from the administration at the highest level, our locals. I work with our local legislators. We have contacts with the state, with Senator Sheehy, Senator Daines. We have those contacts. They understand the dire needs we have. We have bridges closed all over the state, bridges with load limits all over the state. The community in Knoxon's getting really nervous because they have one bridge to get in and out of their community, and they're putting metal plates over the top of it because stuff's falling through. And that's not on my program, but that's a county-owned project, but infrastructure is huge. So there's a dire need for infrastructure in Montana. Everybody gets it. It's just a monumental challenge. We're working to try to secure grants any way we can. Some of the projects that are out here, one of the things that I want to let everybody know is expanding our network, we have to set aside at this point. We have to, I'm focusing on safety and resiliency. Where are the problem intersections? Where are people dying? And we need to address those first. And one of the facts that I have to share with you is I've got a lot of these intersections, for example, where we've got crash trends, where we're having serious injury and fatal crashes. I've got a lot of other intersections where there's a potential for crashes to take place. But I'm not doing my job properly if I fix where an accident could happen and I don't fix where accidents are happening. So we're a data-driven agency. We're focusing on the data, and we have to. The needs are so great that I have to look at the data that tells me where the crashes are taking place, and that's where I have to focus first. Combine that with getting developers to improve the impacts that they're making. And then the third part is anybody live on Foys Lake Road or drive the Foys Lake Loop lately? We're doing a crack seal, chip seal up there. That's trying to keep good roads good. And it's like changing the oil in your car. If you think you're broke, you don't change the oil in your car. I'll get it next time. Well, pretty soon you're not buying a $50 or $100 oil change. You're buying a couple $1,000 engine. Same thing with our highways. If we can do crack seals, chip seals, and even overlays, those are the oil changes and the alignments of our road. If we skip doing that, we end up having to go a lot bigger, a lot more expensive. And we've got a couple of those roads in the area. There's a road down around the lake, a stretch. Our maintenance guys just went and put a skin patch over it. It's not real pretty to look at, but it drives pretty good. They were able to patch that together. They're trying to hold that together till we can get in and do a real mill fill overlay in there. We're doing some other work going towards the airport, doing some other work going, fixing Highway 37, trying to think of stuff in the area. We just did work on Highway 35 this summer. So those are the type of projects we've got to keep doing that. We can't stop changing the oil. We got to keep what we have on the road. But what we can't do is go buy. It'd be foolish to go buy a really good stereo when I haven't changed the oil. So to stick with the car analogy. So that's kind of where we are with traffic. And so now coming back to the traffic in the area, this study, what we're hoping to do is find where are the areas that we need to spend money from a safety standpoint. Again, safety, resiliency, and then we start working on the other things. So what this study really is going to help us as we're looking at projects, we have safety projects, or if we're working on resiliency projects, let's say we end up doing a chip seal through here or an overlay. Well, that's the time. If we've got a project someplace within this corridor from Polson to Summers, and we're going to do an overlay or change the oil, does it make sense at that point? Is there something, can we do the wipers at the same time while we're in there, get a pedestrian crosswalk in place? The other thing is this allows me to come to community groups and say, hey, I'm going to use Bernie. I know there's a desire for something upgraded at Bernie. State of Montana, our construction program, we generally spend 87% of the money we spend is federal gas tax dollars, 13% is state gas tax dollars. The way that works out is for every, we are a donee state, meaning California, they pay their gas tax, whatever rate it is, to the federal government. The federal government then sends them back, I think it's 95 or 97 cents for every dollar they send in, they get back. For every dollar we send in, we get about $2.50 back. So, and that's where the big states are helping. We call it the formula funding. It's where the big high population states help Montana pay for our interstate national highway system roads that we couldn't afford to otherwise. If it was on Montana alone to pay for it, we'd be in real serious trouble. Like would have to live with 15% of what we're doing, not what we're doing today. So the reason I bring that up is because we're spending 85% of the project that we're spending is federal dollars, rules come with those federal dollars. And in some cases, added costs come with those federal dollars. One thing that we can't do is we can't change the standards. ADA, whether we're doing it with all state funds or we're doing it or somebody donates it, if it's on our right of way and it's going to carry public traffic, it has to meet certain standards. Some of the things that we can avoid is if you go buy an American-made piece of rebar versus a foreign-made piece of rebar, cost is tremendously different. The certifications that have to be done to prove that that's American, it adds cost to everything. So if a community or a county wants to fund something and get an encroachment permit, it can be done a lot cheaper than if we're waiting for me to find the federal dollars to do it. With the state of Montana, we have our HESRA account, Highway Special Revenue Account. That's where our gas tax dollars go to. The money that's our state gas tax dollars. Our federal gas tax dollars we send to the feds, and then we get money back. But our state gas tax dollars, we get no federal dollars to plow the snow. We get no federal to sweep the roads, to clean the deer off. Our maintenance folks are not funded by federal dollars at all. That all has to get funded by state tax dollars. So, and then we have to make sure that we have enough state tax dollars left to match the federal money. Because the feds won't give us, if we say, hey, we want all our money, but we're only going to come up with 5%, well, no, that's not how it works. You have to match each dollar we give you. If for every 85 cents we give you, you got to contribute 15 cents. When we run out of our money, we can't keep using that federal dollars. Kind of a simplified explanation, but that's how it works. So again, where I'm going, I've heard the question, what can we do to help? If there's a way that the community has a desire to fundraise, put in a crossing, you can do it a lot cheaper than what I can. Depending on what fundraising looks like, it can be done quicker. I told you I've got a 5-year plan. Well, the safety funds have to have the same 5-year plan. So trying to move something inside of that 5-year plan is pretty tough, because every year it feels like we end up moving a couple projects out because of, the French drain discussion. Every time we try to build the road someplace, we find water that we weren't expecting. We end up putting in a French drain. There's some extra money that wasn't in the budget. So we tend to have projects. It's rare we move projects in. That being said, other things you can do, reach out to help me figure out how to get more money, whether it's in form of grants or increased gas tax money. Federal gas tax hasn't changed since 1994. The amount of miles being driven has gone up tremendously, but the average car in 1994 was getting like 16, 17 miles to the gallon. Now it's getting 35. So we're driving more miles, but our revenue stream hasn't climbed. Our revenue stream has climbed a little bit, but our miles traveled has climbed a whole lot. And so we're getting a bigger gap there. So just quick guess. How much does anybody think you pay in gas tax a year to use the road system? One vehicle per year. Any guesses? So it's under $200. So not a whole lot. And zero of your property tax dollars gets to me. We're funded by gas tax dollars. It's not quite 100% true because the last legislative session did create a couple extra funds where they set some money aside to help match. You may have heard of the SAFER Act. Representative Sprunger from Kalispell carried it. Great bill. Set money aside so that if we're able to obtain a grant from the federal government that requires a 20% match, I don't have to dip into my regular pot of money and set a project aside to fund this one. There's a pool of money that we can grab out of to match that grant. So they've done a few things like that, and that is not 100% gas tax dollars. But by and large, gas tax dollars is where we get our money. So honestly, the big thing is it comes down to how can I fund projects? How do I prioritize projects? We've got so many needs in Western Montana, it makes my head spin. And like I say, I live in the community. I'm part of the community. My family drives here all the time. My vet's right over here, and I've been seeing her on a damn near weekly basis. So great vet, but I wish I wasn't coming to Lakeside once a week to see her because I'm going broke.
I have a question for you.
Uh-huh.
It may be hypothetical, but let's say we had county commissioners who said to a developer who was going to have a major impact on our highway, if they said to them, we are willing to approve your subdivision if you can get a turn lane and pay for it, would that end your concern about that? And is that a legal entity and a legal approach to the safety of the people in the Flathead Valley?
So I don't know that I'm going to answer it completely, but what I can tell you is the county can put a stipulation, Mr. Developer, Mrs. Developer, you're building here. We want you to mitigate the impact to our road, and we want you to work with the Department of Transport. We can require you to work with the Department of Transportation to mitigate the impact where our road hits Highway 93. An example of where we're doing that, we're right in the middle of it, is the Polson.
Pick one.
S&K Gaming, the new casino being built north of Polson. That casino is accessing, in this case, it's actually a city road. It was a county road, it's now a city road. The city of Polson, as part of the permit to access there, is telling them they have to work with us. So yes, it can be done, and that's what Rebecca is working really hard on. The counties, as we reach out to them, I will say they're willing to work with us, and they understand it. It's just something that kind of goes to the previous gentleman's 30 years ago, who would have thought we have the needs we do today? In the back.
I think I heard you say a community can pay for an improvement. Let's say this community wanted a stop sign. How much would that cost?
A stop sign or a stop light?
Oh, let's start small. Stop sign.
A four-way stop. The challenge with the four-way stop is I'm probably not going to let you do it on Highway 93 in Lakeside because it doesn't meet warrants. But if you want a stop sign on a side street, I have no idea because you need to talk to Dave Prunty with county because I don't own those stop signs on the side streets. Those are county signs. Generally, a stop sign for somebody to go buy a stop sign, put a pole in, a few $100s. So I know where you're going. You're talking Blacktail Road. Yes. So Blacktail Road's a county road. I have no idea why there isn't a stop sign there. I'm sure there's a good reason. I just don't know what it is. Sometimes the good reason is somebody ran it over 20 years ago and we forgot to put it back up. I honestly don't know what the reason is. The good news, what I'm concerned about is there's a stop sign before you get onto Highway 93, so I'm happy. The intersection, what's happening out there, that's a county issue that I'm not touching.
So you kind of talk timelines, money, et cetera, affects timelines, right? Traffic study is in place, okay? Nobody saw the impact of Western Montana 30 years ago, okay? To say that's the case, were we watching Bozeman? Were we watching Missoula? Were we watching other places like that that were doing the exact same thing, okay? So to say that nobody saw this coming, with this being one of the most beautiful places in the world, is hard to do.
So,
But now, just 1 second, okay? Now, with that being said, so 5 to 15 years out until the road is quote unquote, some of this stuff is really put in place. A lot of this stuff is put in place from a funding perspective. I understand we gotta look at today's data to build this stuff. But we gotta be projecting infinitely higher on that, because we gotta be looking at what this road looks like for our kids and our grandkids in this road. Because when they put that road in place 15 years from now, and we use today's data and we look at the historical growth in the last 15 years, that road's gonna be done, it's gonna be millions of dollars in costs. And it's not going to be half of what we need at that point. And we need to be projecting 30 to 50 years out, because that's what that road is going to feed. Because a lot of people in this room might never see that road get done, but we need it to work for those people's grandkids. We need it to work for my kids. We need it to work for the people of the next generation. That's the same we just heard from the speaker talking about the water. We can't let the water all leak in the flathead and worry about how much we're going to pay with the Lakeside City and water by just handling it at today's rates. We need to be thinking about what Tahoe is doing and shipping it out of the valley. And I understand, that's building a Roman aqueduct, people, right? That's probably $100 million conversation. But if we don't start having those type of conversations and start thinking about the 50% on top of the 50%, and it won't grow anymore, come on. When I lived in Bozeman 20 years ago, there can't be more people coming to Bozeman. The price will never go up again. You can go buy a house.
What's the possibility for Lakeside for even mitigation? I just put some whitefish today for an oil change. That Highway 93 is back there. You can hardly get through that town, but they actually have, different side roads. We don't have a side road coming off that hill, political hill and so forth. What is our option?
One thing that I want to share with everybody, I said it earlier, I don't have the funding to build more. One thing and I've shared it with every community I talk to in Western Montana, congestion is the new normal. We can't build our way out of congestion. We flat ass don't have the money.
Even if you had the money, I don't know how you could do it here.
I mean, so Missoula, I'm in charge of Missoula. I go down to Bitterroot. Missoula's got just the same problems what we do here. The challenge that we have is I'm struggling to have the money to maintain the roads I have today, let alone expand. So I'm focusing on safety and resiliency. That's what I have to focus on first. I agree 100%. We need to figure out what does that look like. But the community of Montana, we don't have the funds today to be looking forward. When we design a new road, we have a 20-year design life. Our bridges are a 75-year. When we build a new bridge, we want 75 years out of a bridge. Our highways, we're looking at 20 to 25 years, and that's based on projections from the day we build it, not the day we start. So if I say I want to rebuild the road out here, we're going to modify that design based on a 20-year design life when we think it's going to get built. So we are looking ahead. Trying to look ahead 50 years that's beyond any budget that we have. So we do look ahead. We don't build to today's data. We build to a future projection. Kalispell bypass is an example, but the Kalispell bypass, they started talking about that in the 80s. So
If we do need to do a speed study here, because I don't know if you were influential or just didn't somehow slow the speed down. But I'll often have coffee at purpose or something.
it's been done.
And we need to slow some of these trucks down.
So if I can, folks, I am 15 minutes past when I promised to be here. I'm going to answer the question about speed. One of the things, if it was as easy as making roads safe by putting up new speed limit signs, I can afford that, but it doesn't work. Speed limit signs are only as effective as the enforcement that goes with it, hence the reason this community has a fake cop sitting out here that scares the crap out of everybody the first couple times. But enforcement. So again, one of the things that we see is, I don't know, it's been a year since I had a conversation with the local highway patrol, but they are so backed up and so short-staffed that rarely do they have enough staff to actually patrol for speeding. They're doing triage, essentially, is where they are. So speed limits, the speed limits as posted are pretty close to where they need to be. It's the adherence to the existing speed limits a problem. And actually, when we see if we lower speed limits below where people feel where most of the people feel comfortable driving, we actually increase accident rates. And that's a lot of people struggle with that. It's a proven fact across. It's not a Montana thing. It's not a flathead. That's nationwide. If you get speed differential is one of the worst things you can have. So with that, I've promised that I'll do what I can to get that study comment period extended. If I think everybody has your email.
Yeah, and the handouts on the highway stuff has the Upper West Shore email account at the bottom of the page.
It would help me tremendously. I get emails literally, I don't know, I got 200 and some emails today. It took me forever to find your email again. So if you look on one of these handouts, it's got my name and a phone number. I'm going to give you another number. I wrote it down because she's on my speed dial list. Where the hell did I put it? Here it is. So if I would prefer you email Janie and then include that address at the bottom. That's my executive assistant. She does a great job of hounding me. She has most of the answers, but she does a great job of hounding me to make sure that one of us gets the answer to you. So if you use that jradine@mt.gov, guaranteed you're going to get an answer. And that's her phone number, if anybody has a pen handy, is 396-1978. And again, her name is Joan. If you take a look at my calendar, you'll find maybe a half hour here or there every day that I'm available where I'll actually answer the phone. So if you call me, you go to voicemail. If you call her, you're most likely going to get a call back usually within the hour or two. But you'll get a call back and she'll hound me to make sure one of my team gets an answer back to you. But again, I think it would help all of us if we circulate emails through Janie, because then we can make sure that we're getting consistent email, consistent answer, and just make sure that Janie's in the loop as well. So with that, did I cover everything? Did I miss anything?
Great. That was great. And you stayed later than you agreed.
Yeah, and my daughter's called me again.
Yeah,
so.
and I know that's stressful, so I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, and
Truly.
yeah, we'll be in touch. We can get back out here again. Did you have anything you?
We do have a intersection coming down into town here. Majority of our accidents are right there. We're putting in a new restaurant right there. When they put the place to come up, they want it to come right exactly into that same intersection, making it much more dangerous yet.
And that is on the list that we
Yep.
shared with Bob and Rebecca yesterday, and they said that they would look at that. That also is part of where Discovery Land is going to have one of their amenities, so that may offer an opportunity for us to have the developer solve for that interchange.
So one thing I do want to speak to that again, though. So the developer's going to be building there. Okay, I'm sorry. I guess I didn't mean to offend anyone.
Well, no, you're fine. Excuse me, I don't know what happened. Please finish.
Okay, so with a developer building, I want to go back to the undue hardship. We can make the developer address the impacts they create. If there's that intersection, for example, has got problems, we can't put it solely on the developer to fix the entirety of the intersection. The taxpayers have a role in that as well. And that's where things get challenging, because a developer wants to come in and do something tomorrow, but I don't have the money till 6 years from now. So now we have to start figure out how we get there.
Private fundraising that we encourage the developer to.
Exactly. So, it's very cognizant of the issues in Lakeside. Appreciate it. Literally, we recreate here. My son's got friends that lives here. I get the needs. I want to fix them all, but I only have so many dollars. So I have to be cognizant of that. And like I said, right now focus has got to be on the safety side of it. So we're looking at the intersections. I've got a pile of intersections across western Montana where bad things could happen. But I have a pile of intersections where bad things are happening as well. So I got to fix the are happening before. That being said, if there's what I really, we're diving through this, if there's low-hanging fruit, small projects that we can do, invest a small amount of money, we're going to take a look at that and get those as fast as what we can. But if it's $1 million here, $1 million there, those are getting tougher. If we're talking tens of thousands, a lot of times I can figure out a way to finagle that in. So we're going to take a look at that as well.
You know what, those flashing yellow lights when there's someone at the stop sign, like on Rocky Cliff, are awesome. I love that.
And that's
because
what
that opens my eyes.
we are talking about that.
Yep.
We need to be respectful to get back to the sewer piece.
All right. Thank you.